we have an item on your agenda on a rezoning request that involves Perry Township. Myself and our supervisor, Mark Foltz, are here to answer any questions or anything that may come up, but this is a pretty straightforward rezoning. This was unanimously approved by the Township Planning Commission, the Township Board, and the County Planning Commission. This is in our commercial industrial district. This is in our land use plan designated as commercial and industrial. Simply going from B1 to M2. The reason it's going to M2 is the use that's going to be on the property would work under M1, but they're going to be using the property next to it also, which is already zoned M2. So to combine them, they need to be the same zoning on it. It's a piece of property owned by the Township DDA and has been owned by the Township DDA for about 20 years. So this will be selling it. And our sale is contingent upon the rezoning taking place. It'll get back on the tax roll. This used to be a service station years and years and years ago that had leaking underground storage tanks, all kinds of problems. Our DDA got it for taxes, cleaned it all up, has spent many times more money than they'll ever get back out of it. But we finally have an offer to sell it, and so that's what this is for. Like I said, any questions during it, just feel free to ask.
Thank you. Anyone else? With that, moving on to community development report, Mr. Pete Preston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had 18 zoning permits, 18 building permits, and 34 code enforcement actions. Our municipal violations bureaus continue to move forward. We've collected approximately $600 in that. We do have a slew of civil infractions that are now moving through the district court. We keep on a cycle of about 3 to 5 a week, depending on the severity of the violation and our success rate, so we don't, one, overwhelm us or overwhelm district court. Also, as far as building permits, there were 3 new homes and 1 commercial structure as far as big ticket items that we handled last month. That's all I have, unless there's any other questions.
I got a quick question. So when I just look down through the building permit report, I see Green Panel, Climax Solar, Michigan Solar. So is that people putting solar panels like on their roofs or ground?
Yeah, the ground mounted ones are primarily what we're seeing. We're seeing less and less of the building mounted ones and the ground mounted ones going in the backyards.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like several.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Residential.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not commercial development.
No, but it's just interesting that to see it increasing in the residential, so.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much. All right, moving into agenda items. Item A, I look for a motion to approve the 2023 total equalized valuation and authorize the board chair and county clerk to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Support. All right, we have a motion to support. Any discussion from the board?
Thank you. A couple of high points. So our Pete's office prepares these, but the numbers that are important for this board is that the total value of all the property in the county is about $3.3 billion. Last year it was about $3 billion. We're up about $300 million. So what that means for us is that it's going to be about $600,000 of new taxable revenue in the up and coming year for our property tax collection. Generally, it only goes up about 300,000, so we're still above that. But last year it went up 1 million, so we're below that, which seems that things are slowing slightly. Okay. It's up, but not as much as I would like it. Anything?
As some of you know, I'm working on my second level assessing certification, and the module that I am currently studying is sales studies and the equalization process, and it's very interesting to see the expanded version of that. So if anybody would like more information, they can ask.
Any other questions, comments from the board? Pete, do you have anything to add?
Only that your action on this, we start the process all over again here in about 2 weeks.
All right. And with that, hearing nothing else, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next up, I would look for a motion to approve the rehabilitation mortgage discharge for Felix and Saragossa Aragaga of 409 Robin Street, Owasso.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we have a motion with support. Comments from the board?
Old program, and it's come due, and they're rehabbing it, so time for discharge.
Excellent. Hearing nothing else, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Nays? Motion passed. Next, I would look for a motion to approve the zoning amendment from B1 residential neighborhood to M2 heavy industrial and authorize the board chair and county clerk to execute the necessary documents.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
We have a motion of support. Any comments from the board? I think we heard a little bit in public discussion. This was a unanimous decision from the planning commission. The parcel next to it is M2. It's an easy fit.
And I think it's owned by the governmental entity.
Yeah.
So it's technically their choice to ask it. If it was a city, they would just do it themselves.
Did you get any neighbor pushback? No. Great.
No neighbors. Okay. Hearing that, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Motion passed. Next, I would look for a motion to approve the Henderson Park grant declaration and notice as presented.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we have a motion of support. Comments or discussion from the board?
So this is part of the grant closeout. It says that we have received the money, we have done the project, and as a trade-off, we agree that we will be keeping that as park property into perpetuity, which is our plan anyways. So it's a declaration to the state saying we took their money, we're using their money for the parks, and we plan to keep it as a park.
Okay. Comments from the board? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Motion passed. Next, I would look for a motion to accept and place on file the 2022 Register of Deeds Annual Report as presented.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we have a motion of support. Comments from the board for the Register of Deeds.
So we record over 100 document types. We recorded over 12,000 documents last year. We put $684,000 into the general fund for accounting and stuff. We ended up rejecting 1,672 documents that had to be circulate through our office at least once to meet the state of Michigan's recording requirements. We did add to the report this year. Commissioner Garber had asked about foreclosures, sheriff's deeds, tax foreclosures and stuff, so we included the report to show how many sheriff's deeds we received, how many get redeemed, same with tax foreclosures.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any questions?
None here. Thank you very much. All right, any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Motion passed. Next up, I would look for a motion to approve the remonumentation peer review group members and the remonumentation contracts as recommended by the surveyor, sorry.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we have a motion of support. Comments from the board?
So I just reiterate, this happens every single year. It's a 3-member panel with peer groups. They look at where they're doing the remonumentation project, and that section of the county is completely covered by the grant. And these are the peer group members that he has asked to serve and who have agreed to serve.
Excellent, thank you. And remonumentation is the new survey stage.
Yes.
You know what stages I've been on the board for years and years. They must be getting pretty well done or not?
He was in the latter stages, but I don't know at what percentage is done. I'll find out for you though.
Oh, I just thought.
Yeah, I thought a couple years ago, I thought the same thing. I thought a couple years ago that it was almost done. So.
Yeah.
Well, I know it always
I've been
takes
hearing.
time, you know.
Yeah.
Never completely done.
In Exhibit A, it listed where they're at: Middlebury, Owasso, Caledonia, Fairfield, Rush, New Haven, and Hazelton. but not one or two corners in each. There's a couple that have 4 or 5. So more than half of the county. 22 corners. Okay? Any further comment, discussion? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Motion passed. Next up, our last call to the public. Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
So this is what you're studying. These are for this.
You did well on it.
Thanks for-
Financial start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, our first call to the public. Anyone? All right, feel kind of left out, but treasurer's monthly report. Julie.
Hello, everybody. March, busy month in the treasurer's office, so still working on wrapping up our settlement. We do have all of the units finally in and on in the system, so we're getting there. I hope to wrap things up by the end of the week, if not by the beginning of next week, to get it all completed. The move in the middle there didn't help. It's going fine. But it's a little chaotic at times, but it's going fine. We'll adjust. Foreclosures, April 1st, we ended up having 18. My original report was 17. There were a couple questionable, and there are 18 foreclosures. I'm sorry I didn't bring a list for you tonight. I can get one to you by Wednesday or something if you're so interested in seeing that list. Most of them I think are vacant parcels and not necessarily homes. There are a few houses though involved. And land bank, we're working on some good blight elimination projects. We're getting ready for round 2, so there's going to be some good stuff going on in the county concerning the land bank and now our new brownfield board. So excited about some projects that will be happening. And other than that, I'm just hoping that you will revisit our capital area community services support. Other than that, I don't have anything for you unless you have any questions for me.
On that, Julie, when we talk about 18 properties in the entire county and most of them not being homes, to me that just isn't a glaring need.
Well, capital area does so much more than just, they've helped so many people not be foreclosed on this year. I had over 80 families that got involved with the My Half program. These are families that, without any extensions, without any help, and it's not necessarily, capital area doesn't pay their taxes, but they help work with the individuals and help them kind of educate them on how to handle their finances, how to handle a budget, how to, so that it doesn't get to foreclosure. We don't want to see them foreclosed on in the future. We want them to keep their, be able to keep their homes, and resources to work with these individuals. I just think they're a gem.
Oh, and they absolutely are. I just don't see, even if you added 80 people in a county of 68,000, I just don't feel that we're
Well,
in a
would you have
crisis.
rather seen 80 homes be foreclosed on and those people out on the street?
I don't know that that's this board's responsibility. No, I wouldn't like to see that, but I work 3 jobs so I can pay my taxes.
Well, I understand there are a lot of people with certain disabilities and they have their reasons. I understand that it's important for people, and that's the whole thing. A lot of these people that we did get help, I've said to them now, I don't want to see you back here in 3 years. You've got a big gift, and it's going to get a good handle on it moving forward, so that we don't run into this. Try and set aside that money each month so it doesn't end up so far in back due that they can't get out of a hole. So.
May I sure come in? So my I get that it's not the government's responsibility to help people keep their personal property, but I do think we have a responsibility for the overall economic well-being of our community. We want developers to move here. We want the housing market to be strong here, and we already are in housing shortage. And so I think everything we can do to help keep people in their homes contributes to the overall economic well-being of our community, which should be the concern of this board. Those are factors that developers and people who are looking to invest in our community look at, and I think it's a very important thing. I would support us being involved in helping families be able to stay in their homes.
I appreciate that.
As an element of procedure, I think you guys tabled it at the regular board meeting of the commissioners on Thursday. Is that right?
Sure, it was Thursday, not Wednesday.
It was Wednesday because I missed Wednesday last time, and I was here on Thursday, and it wasn't taken up yet.
Whichever meeting you table it at is the meeting at which you have to vote to bring it off the table, if you so desire to do so.
So it'd be Wednesday.
Yeah, it won't go through this committee process again because it has already gone through this committee. And so it will come to Wednesday or Thursday, whichever one it was, and you will vote or not vote to take it off if you so choose at that meeting.
I too got a phone call a couple weeks ago from somebody within District 4 basically pleading for us to bring this back to the table. It's helped this person out tremendously, and without this type of support, he was going to be in dire straits. So that's the phone call I received 2 weeks ago.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Julie.
I guess, and just on that other note, again, the Cook Foundation has pledged $50,000 as long as we offer a little support to show a little skin in the game. And without our support, the Cook Foundation will not be giving that money to Capillary. And we have, at this time, they don't have any service time for us. They cannot help any of our constituents at this time until we get some funding to them. Thank you.
All right, are we ready for our first agenda item? I would entertain a motion to approve the purchase of a new firewall for 911 in the amount of $12,979.
Support.
Angie, would you like to elaborate on that, or?
Pretty much, I think I came to you in January, and we had to update our servers, so this is also another 5-year project. That's our current firewall. It's on end of shelf life. We have to be able to do updates and upgrades with it to be in CJIS compliance. So that's the importance of this, to keep our critical information that we gather in the 911 center secure, and also support all the expensive equipment that we have in there, keep out the malware and all that stuff. So that's what it's for. So like every 5 years I'll be coming to you for servers and firewalls. So yeah, so that's what that's for. So, I also real quick just wanted to introduce to you our Deputy Director, Kelsey Ardanis. So she's been promoted at the 911 center, so she'll be here with me on and off, so another person to reach out to if you need it. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to update?
Any questions or?
No, I think we
Just know
got
it
it.
comes from the 911 funds, not the
Yeah.
general fund.
All right, nothing else? All those in favor of sending this forward signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed the same. So that will move to Wednesday. I would entertain a motion to approve the purchase of a new 2023 Chevy Tahoe 4x4 police responder in a total amount of $33,453.26.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions? I know that the sheriff's office has some funds they're putting forward to this.
But that's not quite how it works. They're all county funds. They don't belong to one department. So, they do have, it was 64,000. They had one vehicle that was totaled out in a deer, accident. So we have 15,000 for that, and one vehicle that was sold at auction. So we generally try to spend, money to replace 2 vehicles in the fleet. We bought one in January, February of this year, and then this is our second one for the year. Now, that being said, they have a third one, the one that they sold, that is not being replaced. So that will take them down 1. But with those 2 items, that brings the price down, and also from the one that they had in January, they did not spend $9,700 of the money that was allocated to them. That is not money they get to keep if it's unspent. And the money from these sales of these cars go into the general fund. So it's not their contribution, but it is money that is left over for those items if you so choose to allocate it that way, which would bring the new purchase price that you would have to expend from the general fund or ARPA of $33,453.26. And we had talked about at the end of the year doing an adjustment to determine where it would be better to take that from. So we would do this in December of 2023, and we would say that, well, we have ARPA funds left over, it will come out of there. If we don't have ARPA funds left over after the courthouse, it will come out of the general fund. And that's how we allocated the first one, and that was our proposal for the second one.
Questions, comments? All right, all in favor of the new Chevy Tahoe signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed the same. And that moves forward, which brings us to our second call to the public. Seeing no one, this meeting is adjourned.